and a very warm welcome on this, a special day. Now, we don't normally reference the days when we do these recordings for obvious reasons, because you could be watching this anytime. But today, here in South Africa, another big day for us in our history. It is Voting Day in South Africa, a day where we are really hopeful that change can be brought about, since change is very often the focus of this show, the Coaching Hour. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you. I'm Paul Rotherham. Lovely to have you here. If you're watching this live, then I do hope that you will be making your mark today. On the other hand, if you're watching this post-voting day, well, let's hope that we will in fact have brought about change. South Africa has just got incredible potential. We are amazing people. We've got all the world's resources literally at our fingertips in many ways. And I think it would be wonderful to see positivity and change come about from today. So fingers crossed, and I would encourage you, as we all would, to do your bit if this is the voting day when you're watching. On that note, nice to welcome the ladies once again to the Coaching Hour podcast, proudly brought to you in partnership with Coaches Network South Africa. I'm joined, of course, once again by Mareka and Mary. Nice to have you with us, ladies. And Mary is going to introduce today's guest because, strangely, I'm surrounded by ladies again. I don't know what it is with the coaching industry, but many coaches do seem to be female. I'm not complaining. As I say, I'm surrounded by three, even though it's virtually. But Mary, tell us who we have lined up for today's interesting topic.
Yes, I'm so happy to announce that Hanna is going to be speaking to us today. And she is a forever life coach, forever after life coach. And she deals with people that are sick, that are depressed, people that are unhappy, and she has amazing tools that she uses to assist people to recover and to live life forever after. So welcome, Hanna.
Thank you very much for having me.
Good. Thank you, Hanna. Yes, you are the happy ever after coach, and I love that approach. And like Paul said before we started, like the Disney movies, living happily ever after. But before we get into today's topic, which is quite interesting, it's affirmations. However, it's spelled slightly different, which I'm sure there's a meaning to that. So Hanna, tell us a bit more about yourself and why you do what you do today.
So I am from the Netherlands originally, just so people can stop wondering what this accent is all about. And I moved to Southern Africa 40 years ago, lived in Lesotho for 12 years, and then came to South Africa. And in my journey, everybody's got their life stories, things happen. And I started to realize we should stop making a living. Let's start making a life for ourselves. And coaching was my way of making a life where we can get people to move from being unhappy and unhealthy to becoming happy and healthy. And that's my take on the world. Yeah.
Great. So Hanna, what is affirmations all about? So just for the listeners who can't see how we're spelling it, it's Apphirmations. Affirmations. Why do you spell it like that?
It's actually Apphirmation. So you say it also like that because it is an application, but it's a web-based application that uses affirmations. Now, what are affirmations? Affirmations are positive statements that we use to direct our mind and our focus towards the outcome that we want. So we want to be healthy, or we want to be happy, or we want to be wealthy. Now that's wonderful. But the problem is we also, when you use affirmations, first of all, you're supposed to say them so many times a day. You're supposed to write them down. It's time consuming. And I was too lazy to do that. So I developed an application where you can listen to these affirmations, preferably while you sleep, that it starts reprogramming the way you think. Now, the thing is, we've been telling ourselves many lies over the years as well, like I'm useless, I'm unworthy, I'm poor, whatever it is. Now, where does the rubbish go? And so with these affirmations, we don't only put positive statements in, but we also remove much of the rubbish that we have. And then we can start reprogramming, the way we think. And then we become happy and healthy. But
Would I be correct, Hannah? Oh, sorry.
No, no.
Would I be correct in saying that very often we're not even aware that we have those thoughts or beliefs?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I was speaking to Marijke a little bit before the time because I wanted to share something. That's why I want to share my screen. A little bit of how our thinking affects us. And as you say, we often are not aware of those thoughts. So if I can share my screen, I'll go quickly to this presentation. It's not going to be death by, thought I had it up. It's not going to be death by PowerPoint. I just want to do get people to do a simple calculation to measure the effects of being unhappy. On average, how many hours a day would you say you are unhappy? And you might not even be severely unhappy, but it could be that you're unhappy because you're stuck in traffic, you have to run the school run and you got cut off by taxis or you're stuck there. It could be that you're having an argument with somebody. So on average, how many hours a day are you unhappy? Or maybe you can't have the remote for the evening. Now you have to watch this program or your kids are making a noise. Let's say, for simpleness sake, you may be unhappy 1 hour a day. Just as an average person. On a good day, you maybe have 1 hour a day you're not that happy. Well, 1 hour a day, and if it's related to work, say we are now unhappy 5 days a week, 1 hour a day, that's 5 hours a week, 50 weeks, to make simple maths, 250 hours a year you're unhappy. Now that's like nearly 10 days of unhappiness. Well, that's not great, but not so much a big deal. At least that's what most people think. But what if you have a major thing happen? You're dealing with a fight with a significant other or your child, or at work you've got problems, or you have a health scare. Now this starts really to occupy your mind and it starts milling in your head. And before you know it, you might be thinking about this stuff 10 hours a day, if it's really a big thing. And it's now not 5 days a week anymore, it's 7 days a week. So now 10 hours, maybe 300 days a year is 3,000 hours of unhappiness. Yeah, that's unpleasant. Still a lot of time. Who wants that? But let's see what the effects are of that. Because normally people think, okay, I'm happy, but my health is still okay. But how long will your health still be okay? Because what happens with our energy consumption when we're healthy compared to when we're happy, that should have been happy. When we're happy, what happens to our energy availability when we're happy compared to when we are unhappy? Imagine we have 10 units of energy use, and I'm just made simple maths here so that's easy to follow. And of those 10 units, we use 3 units for work and play and your daily activities, house, family, you name it, friends. Then our brain uses 20% of all the energy that we have available, of our life force, 20%. So 2 units are used for every day for running your brain.
And Hannah, is that an assumption or is that scientific fact that that's literally how much we use?
I saw that actually our brain uses 20% of all the energy that we have. Yes. Yeah. And so I made these numbers as closely as what I've come across, on the web. But give and take a percentage here or there. So now we have 50% of the energy that we use are for running the body. To heat the body, if it gets too cold, we did. To digest our food. And then we have 3 units for immune system, so protecting our body from outside germs and whatever is there, and repair. We need to repair that body. We do that often while we sleep. Now, what happens when we are unhappy? We're stressed. A large part of our energy goes now to this anxiety, worry, anger. So we could be still focusing on how angry we are with that difficult client or that unreasonable spouse we have at home or something that has happened 100 years ago. It happened to our ancestors, but the stories were told on, and it just keeps taking our our energy. It's sucking the life force out of us. But we still only have those 10 units. So what happens now? It's way more difficult to be focused because your mind keeps going back to those things that are consuming you. And now those 3 units that you use for work and play and relaxation is all about work, because it takes, we still have the demands from work. We still have demands by a family that we have to meet. But because we're less focused, it takes a lot more effort. So the play and relaxation is out the window. Now, if you do your maths here, you'll see we have, instead of 5 units for running the body, we maybe have only 2 left. The digestion slows down. This is when the weight problems start to happen. And then there is also a lot less for immune system and repair. The aging speeds up. And now we think if I put enough expensive cream on my face and I take all the vitamins and minerals, I'll be okay. But if you don't have the energy to use it, you still have problems. So what is happening now when you're unhappy? It guaranteed will lead to being unhealthy further down the line. It just depends on how intense the problem was. And these old age problems that we have when we're getting older, these aches and pains, are actually your history, your unresolved history, catching up with you. So what do? We go to the doctor and we say, oh, I need to get rid of my symptoms. You're all happy again because you're healthy again, but you're still unhappy. You're still wasting a lot of vital life force energy on all that stuff that is going on in your life. So what is going to happen?
You'll be unhealthy again.
You're going to be unhealthy again. That is why it's so important to deal with that unhappiness. Because what is cheaper? To deal with an unhappy thoughts or an unhealthy body? What is cheaper to deal with? What's easier to deal with? Easier to deal with the unhappiness, if you're willing. But most people are not unwilling to do that because they think it's not a big deal. But now that you realize, hey, if I don't deal with it now, I always say, fight your dragons while they're small. Deal with unhappy thoughts now, and you can create much health further down the line. And I know people say, add 10 years to your life, 20 years. I don't know if I want to add that many years to my life, but I definitely want to add so many healthy years to my life.
Quality as opposed to quantity sometimes.
Yeah.
Would I be right, Hanna, in assuming that most people are just stuck in this cycle of unhappiness equals becoming unhealthy? And ultimately, I do think that being unhealthy will feed the unhappiness as well. So they just keep leading to each other.
Absolutely. And then you start worrying about the health, and then that could even become more and more. And then you have less energy to actually rebuild and repair the body.
So I think one of the things we do on the coaching hour is we provide solutions to these problems, or tips and tricks and ways of doing things. And I'm sure you were going to get to it, so I don't want to preempt you unnecessarily, but the obvious question is how?
How? Okay, so the thing is, it's important. I have got this new phrase is, let's start working with mental hygiene. We know the importance of physical hygiene to prevent illnesses and everything, but mental hygiene is equally important, if not more important. What does that mean? When you're upset, you deal with it. And you can do it through coaching. There are different ways of dealing with it. But address the root causes of that unhappiness. That is so important. You know, you can do it through meditation, through prayer, through going and hitting that boxing ball. But that is not necessarily addressing the root cause. You have to resolve the conflict that you're dealing with. And as I said, you can do that through coaching. And this is where my affirmations come in. That is one of the things that I've now made available for people. I can now stop sharing my screen.
Before you stop sharing, Hannah,
Yeah,
can I
okay.
trouble you to go back to that animation or that image of the brain? Because if you are listening to us now and you are not watching, I would really like you to, or I'd like to encourage you just for 10 seconds to look at the screen at the moment, because that is just such a fantastic image. It says so much. I've never seen that before.
No, I
Have
used
you,
AI
ladies?
to create that image.
Oh, did you create it?
Yes, through AI.
Yes, but that I've never seen it before, and it speaks volumes. It says so much about cleaning the mind, being doing the housekeeping mentally. That is such a brilliant picture.
Thank you. Yeah, that mental hygiene is so important. It is so important because we want to be happy, and when you're happy, you're going to be healthier, definitely.
And on another note, here's a bit of a poo-poo for those who are questioning AI and saying that it's ruining our lives. I think this is the perfect example of a case where AI has given us something visually that we can benefit from. I mean, this is just, I'm looking at it now and I keep seeing different things. It's brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Paul, you can do a Lego one like that.
Yeah.
Say that again?
Paul can do a Lego.
Yes.
Yeah, I enjoy Lego, and I love coming up with Lego creations. So I think Mary's suggesting that I build something like this out of Lego.
Yeah, I gather that. Yes.
But yeah, I don't want to harp on it, but I just want to say well done. Well, not necessarily to you, Hannah, but to AI.
Definitely.
That's brilliant. Thanks for sharing that. That's powerful.
Thank you.
Just one thing, Hannah, that you said, for example, now sleep is one of the functions, obviously, that cleans up the brain a bit. And the irony is the more unhappy you are, the less sleep you have. So even that simple function of sleeping properly, the brain is not cleaning itself as it should.
Yeah, because what happens also, and this is important to know for students, okay, who are studying and cramming that information in. If you do not get your deep sleep, in sleep, what we do is we take our short-term memory and then we put it into long-term memory. And if you've been cramming and learning through the night and you go for your exams, maybe you still remember. But if you do not sleep within 24 hours, have that deep sleep, that information is lost because it's not stored in long-term memory. And I'm sure many people have experienced that. You study hard, and then a few days later, you have no idea.
Yes.
Can you imagine? Sorry.
It happened to me, yes. I was cramming the night before, sleeping 2 hours studying, sleeping 2 hours studying, thinking that I had 6 or whatever sleep, but I didn't have the deep sleep. So when I got to the exam, I went blank. I couldn't even write the exam.
Right. And can you imagine how you have now dealing with a person in a profession that is really important, like a doctor, and that part that they learn so hard is not stored in their memory anymore. So, but that's a different story. But sleep is very important. But the more we stress, the harder it is to sleep. Yeah. Okay, let me stop share. So affirmations, what that is about then is to do the mental hygiene while you sleep. You put it on, or while you go about your day. So it only takes 2 minutes a day to put them on. You can put them on your phone, you can play them on your computer, you put them on super softly while you go about your day or while you're sleeping. And then it starts cleaning, it starts removing your anger, your frustration, your the beliefs that you have, putting other things in. And then we've seen amazing things, how it affects your health. For example, women with period problems. Paul has left the room, so now we can talk about period problems, right? Women with period problems, when they listen to these affirmations, it reduces the stress. And we've seen a reduction up to 85% of problematic symptoms. Less pain, less bleeding, less moodiness. One of my clients told me the other day, his wife is using it. He says, normally that time of the month, he has to tippy toe around his wife because, you know, he just says the wrong thing and a good day has become a bad day. And he says, it's this time of the month, it's actually pleasant at home because it changed. Her period, she's not so moody anymore. Menopause, same thing.
Yeah,
Allergies, yeah, lots of things changed just by using these affirmations.
I don't think people realize the power that their words and thoughts actually have. And I think if you use these type of affirmations, you can actually eventually see the difference in your life. And what I like about this is most of my clients, because I'm also obviously a coach, after 1 or 2 weeks, you know, if they have to use affirmations, it gets boring. They don't like it anymore. They're like, oh, they can't stand saying these positive affirmations for one more day. So yes, I think it's a brilliant way of not having to put in the effort.
Exactly. And the thing is, you need the repetition. And also, if you say an affirmation that doesn't feel true to you, for example, I am wealthy, and then the back chatter goes, yeah, right. Look at your bank account. Who are you kidding? And so you get more and more resistance to saying the affirmations, and you actually feel worse after saying it because every time you say it and you have the bitchy back chat, it reminds you of how bad your finances actually look. They are now counterproductive. If, on the other hand, you listen to affirmations super softly in the background, and especially if you're sleeping, it bypasses the conscious bitchy back chat that is now judging what you're saying. It goes straight in and you start believing it. Now, I've got some abundant health affirmations, and I've had so many extremely funny things happen with them of how amazingly powerful they are. The funniest one was that my husband had a visitor, and he was coughing his lungs out like really loud, and I was sitting in the room next door and I could just hear this loud coughing. You think that the lungs will be ending on the floor, you know, that was how bad it was. So I walked in, I said, would you mind if I play something for you softly in the background? So I put my abundant health affirmations on softly in the background, about a meter behind him. And he started chatting, continued chatting with my husband, and I walked back to my office. Within 20 minutes, he stopped coughing. So I thought, okay, let me go back, maybe a time for a sales pitch, you know, because he's surely seen how powerful they are. So I went back and I said, have you noticed you stopped coughing? He says, yeah. I said, would you like to know how that is possible? He says, no. I thought, okay, that's fine. I need my phone. So I took my phone, walked away because I thought, bugger that thing. I need my phone anyway. 10 minutes later, he started coughing again. And he looked back, he said, damn, that phone is gone. Now, he wasn't coughing as badly as before, but he did start coughing again because you do need to go through a whole, you know, it's a whole program to get you to stop coughing, for example.
That's awesome. I love that because some research that I've done, We used to think that about 21 days, habits and affirmations works, but actually it takes anything between 60 and like 90 days for new neural connections to kind of wire in the brain. So if you want to do affirmations, it means you'll have to say those affirmations for at least 3-4 months every single day, which is a lot of work, and most people won't stick to that. So yes, I quite like this idea. It's brilliant. Well done.
Thank you. And another thing is, with the affirmations, that I've got a wide range of topics you can choose from. So a person can choose a topic that suits them. Now, you know how does the saying go? You give people, or you sell what they want and you give them what they need, or something like that, right? So they'll start thinking, oh, okay, I have a problem with weight. Let me start listening to the weight issues. Or more important, the one that I really love is the overcome addictions affirmations. Because a lot of people are addicted to that stress and anxiety and worry, besides the other addictions. So now you listen to these affirmations. It's a 30-day program. And of that 30-day program, 80% is repetition and 10-20% is new every time. So you have that repetition. Now you think, okay, you've done that one, you go to another program, and still in that other program, a lot is still repeated from the previous programs, but it's just that little bit of change. And so that's how you'll get to your 90 days. But people think, okay, I have this problem, I want to deal with it. So they are now motivated because they have got something they want to address. And then they get what they need. They get that change of mind. They get the mental hygiene that they need.
Hannah, I hope I didn't miss it in terms of you explaining the app, which I think is fantastic, and it's the digital age, and we're all going that way. But the app is then replacing me physically having to repeat those beliefs and those mantras almost. Is the duration the same? So in other words, we're discussing now that it might take 60 or 90 days of affirmations that I'm doing myself for it to, in layman's terms, sink in. Is it the same with the app? Does it take the same amount of messaging, but it's just that we're able to do it over a shorter time because we can have it more on in the background and it's able to repeat more? Just explain the difference there, because I think I'm missing that.
No, that's a very good point there. If you say your affirmations, how many affirmations would you have? Maybe 3 or 4. You say them out loud or write them down. If you have a very conscious person, they may be working with those affirmations 10, 20, if a very studious person, 30 minutes a day, that's it, right? And they'll have just those few affirmations. But again, I'm saying, as I said earlier, where does the rubbish go? It's still stuck there, you're still fighting with it. So these affirmations, first of all, one cycle is 1.5 to 2 hours, where we do a lot of removing of the negativity that is going on. And ideally, you run them for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. So you got a long while you're sleeping or while you're going about your day. So it's much longer, a lot more repetition going on. And because it's effortless, because it's just putting it on, we are in the age of laziness. That's also what created this app, because I was too lazy to do all the hard work. Now you can, so you have a lot of repetition and you're addressing the root causes. So let me give you an example of that. A lot of people think I'm unworthy, right? I'm unworthy of success or health or whatever. Now, why would we hold on to such a stupid belief that we're unworthy? Well, it could be from religious upbringing. I'm not going to go into where we got it. But why we're holding on to it is because it's working for us. And you think, what? How can a belief like that work for us? Well, I'll tell you. When you think you're unworthy, you think, okay, well, now I have to prove to everybody else that I'm worthy. So you work hard and you're super kind and helpful and all of that. So you develop these amazing attributes or qualities because you thought you were unworthy. Now, if you think, okay, I must yank that belief out, I'm unworthy, your subconscious mind is going to go, hell no, I'm not letting go of that, because what is going to happen to my kindness and my motivation? I can't just let that go. I'll just recreate it again. So in the affirmations, what I've done is I put things in like, I infuse the knowing that I'm going to continue to be kind and helpful and motivated, even after I've let go of the belief that I'm unwealthy or unworthy. And now I can let go of that belief and it can stay away. And of course, it will come back every now and then because it's not gone in one session, but that's where the repetition comes in.
And all of these affirmations, Hannah, we are physically listening to a voice in an app. You've obviously had voice artists, or perhaps it's even yourself who is speaking.
Yeah.
It's you. Okay. So when you gave the example a few moments ago where you said that the person was coughing and you went and placed the phone behind them and it was almost inaudible, it wasn't interfering in their conversation in any way.
Yeah.
Excuse me. How aware of those voices, or of your voice, how aware do we have to be consciously for it to work?
Not. So let me see. Do you know the power of the difference between the power of the conscious and the subconscious mind? Do you know any of the numbers?
Remind us.
Our conscious brain can process, say, 40 pieces of information per second. So that can be you're listening to me or to us, you're seeing us, you're aware of your environments, what the chair you sit in, you're sort of aware of those things. Now, in that same second, how much do you think your subconscious mind is processing?
Probably tens of thousands, I would imagine.
40 million.
Sure.
1,000,000 times more. So that subconscious mind is sucking it up, taking it in, those things that are running softly in the background. It just absorbs it because it's no-brainer, it's easy. It's just a few pieces of the 40 million.
And would you find that by listening to the affirmations, that on some level we would become fatigued?
Of listening to them?
Yes. Well, I'm just thinking, for instance, you could be sitting, I'll give you an idea. Someone who lives at an airport or near an airport, they say that they no longer hear the airplanes flying over after they've lived there for a number of weeks or months. You'll go and visit them and have a cup of tea, and you'll be looking up at the ceiling every few minutes because you can't hold a conversation, yet they become almost immune to it. But I do believe that there is a long-term knock-on effect of living with, and I guess an airplane's perhaps not the best example because that is very loud, but the point I'm making is, if you are listening to these messages for 7 hours, is there a side effect to that? Or is it that you're only sucking in all the good stuff and there is no side effect of being swamped, if you will? I don't know if that's the right choice of word, by all this messaging.
That's a good question. That's why I don't say listen to it 24 hours a day. Although if it's really acute, you can. I mean, I had a lady who was covered in psoriasis and she was walking around with a talking handbag. You know, she had them on 24/7 and it cleared her psoriasis.
Wow.
So the thing is, maybe you get fatigued. I haven't had that. I listen to them a lot. Every night I have them on. My husband sometimes says, okay, can we have one night a week without? So maybe he's getting fatigued because he's actually resisting some of the messages. That's what I find. You get, if you're resisting something, now it becomes stressful. Now it starts taking some of your energy away, and yeah, then you could be becoming fatigued from it. But if you realize, hey, because that's some of the side effects that people have given me, other than being healthier, they're also happier, they have more energy because all that emotional baggage, all that anger and frustration they were carrying out is cleaned up every night. And so they feel lighter, they feel better, they sleep better.
And if I may ask, in the case of Mr. Kok, your husband, have you noticed changes in him?
Well, he's a whole different ball game. You know, we get always the biggest challenges in our house, right? So, because just to come back to the beginning of the story of how we have stressful situations, he had extreme stress at work and has now major health issues. He had a meninoma, so which left him paralyzed, semi-paralyzed on the left. He's got Parkinson's, so he can hardly walk. And he's not always willing to look at what are those things that make him unhappy. So I have seen a bit, and I think with the doctors, they were saying, you know, at least it's slowing down the progress of the illness. But there has to be a willingness to really look, when you are that ill, you have to dig and go to the root causes. And some of it can be even inherited. You have to clean it up. Yeah.
Makes
So
sense.
he's not always the best card to show me how good these things work because he's not that healthy. But I've seen with many people that they are much healthier and happier.
Yes. So Hanna, where can people download this app? Is it on, do they have to go via your website? Is it on Play Store? Like, how can people get hold of it?
Okay, so sadly, I am not on the Play Stores for different tech issues and financial reasons, but I put there behind me a QR code that people can scan, and we can put maybe also, so they can go to Apphirmations.co. So how do you spell that? Is the regular word affirmations that you normally would spell with double F, you now spell with double PH because of the app. And then the PH makes an F. So it's Apphirmations.co.
Okay, good.
Then you can subscribe there and you can try them out for free for 7 days. After 6 days, you will get an email saying your trial is coming to an end. And it's super affordable. It's $10 a month. That's less than 200 Rand a month. Now, I don't know, as I said earlier on, people spend tremendous amount of money on supplements and creams, all sorts of things. And if you want to make these things work, get the mental hygiene in place, and all those other things will just be so much more beneficial.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. This was very interesting, and I love the approach. Like you said, we're in the lazy era, if I can call it. There's too much going on. So this makes life just a bit easier. So thank you so much. I really enjoyed our session. And I spoke to Hanna before we recorded. She also deals with allergies and so on. So we can maybe chat at a different point about allergies. But thank you for today's session, Hanna. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much for this opportunity, and I enjoyed being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies, and thank you to you for watching and listening, and we'll look forward to your company in the next edition. Cheers for now.